I'm like tense. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Okay, yes.
3. Do you see that bug?
Hi, welcome to our channel. My name is Derlin and this is Nestor. We wanted to share with you today about our story with Jonah, giving birth to him. This is our first video, so we really wanted to take this opportunity to introduce ourselves a little bit, to have you guys get to know us a little bit and this experience that we had. And I also really wanted to kind of share the story with our family and friends because it happened at the beginning of the pandemic. We didn't get an opportunity to really talk to a lot of friends and families about what happened. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to share that with them, share that with all of you, what our experience was like. So
one of the things that we experienced is that it wasn't exactly the smoothest thing. It didn't go badly, but you know, it wasn't exactly the smoothest thing. And so we hoped that this would normalize and just kind of like show you and let you know, like, you know, it doesn't always have to be the smoothest thing. And you know, Jonah is healthy and happy and things went great.
Starting from the beginning, I was walking around a lot. I was going on a lot of walks with, we have a dog, Winston, a little corgi. He, I don't know if you guys can see him in the back over there.
You can.
He's laying down. So I was going on tons of walks with him. My parents were in town and just a lot of anticipation. I always think of sitting out on our patio, bouncing out a yoga ball, eating pineapple. And then later on I had cooked sushi because I was just like trying to eat something spicy. I was like, I just want to get this baby out of me. So yeah, there was a lot of anticipation leading up to it.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times when, like, especially with the week of your due date was March.
My due date was March 10th.
It was March 10th, and so I think my spring break started the 8th or
It was that Friday before.
So maybe the 8th or around that time. And I remember every day it was just like, you going into labor? You going into labor?
Yeah.
And it was just so much anticipation. I think the other thing that added to our anticipation was the last, I think it had to be the last appointment before her due date.
Oh,
I mean, it definitely was. You got your...
They scraped something. What is it called?
I forgot. Something enzymes? Was it enzymes?
No, they scraped something.
Anyways, we got some optional...
like kind of like inducing, but not really. Like she was like, there's like a 75% chance he'll be here tomorrow to give birth. And
yeah, and so we were very, very like excited, and obviously we thought it would happen any moment. And so we had like this false, I mean, it wasn't a false sense of hope, but you know, we had this hope that it was gonna happen right then and there. The night before we were admitted in, where, I mean, like, things went, and when I tell you guys, I tell you, things went from 0 to 100 super quick, very, very fast. And
I think it was more so the morning of, right?
Yeah, like it just, well, in the morning, and I'll let Derlin say that, but I just want, just for all the guys out there, for your first child, when they're born, it goes from 0 to 100. It doesn't matter where you are, it could happen any moment.
So the morning of
March 11th.
On March 11th. So it was probably like 3 o'clock or so. I want to say maybe a little bit later than that. I was starting to get contractions. They were not starting. I had been getting contractions up to that point, but they were starting to get more consistent. And it was like 7 minutes, 6 minutes. And then we had like this app that we were using. I don't remember what it was called. It might have been called Contractions or something like that.
We'll put that app in the description.
Yeah. And so it was like getting down to like 5 minutes, 4 minutes. And as soon as it like was like consistently like 5 minutes, maybe like less than 5 minutes, Nestor made me breakfast. It was like 6 in the morning.
What Derlin is kind of referencing to, and we're not medical professionals. Obviously listen to your doctor, to your OB, about when to go to the hospital.
Oh yeah.
What we were told was that we should wait for the 511 rule. I
think it's 411.
411?
It's either 4 or 5.
5 or 411. Yeah. 511. So, or 411, whatever it is. 511. What that means is that you're counting the time between contractions from the start of your of your first one to the beginning of the next one, correct? And so that's 5 minutes. If it's 5 minutes apart, you've hit like a check mark. And then if your contraction is 1 minute long, right?
Yes.
And that happens for at least an hour, 1
Yeah.
hour. And that's so 5, 1, 1.
Yeah.
That's and so it got
that's
to that
what we
point.
were using. And then so Nestor made me breakfast, and then after he made me breakfast, we left. So we went to the hospital. We live about like 10 minutes away, 10, 15 minutes away from the hospital. And so the funny part of this is that on our way, it's a pretty straight shot to the hospital from us. We don't really have to take too many like turns and things like that. But the road that we do take was blocked off that day. There was a detour, so we had to like go around, which wasn't like really that big of a deal, but it was like, oh yeah, of course this is happening right now.
as the driver, I was pretty, I tried to stay as calm as possible, and I think I was pretty calm, but I think it was just funny that day.
Sorry, Jonas.
And so on our way there, we were getting there. We were pretty close, maybe about like a minute away, and we had been counting, right? So 511. We were following that, and we were still keeping track of Derlin's contractions. But then as we got a little bit closer to the hospital, Derlin started experiencing contractions that were further apart, that were no longer 5 minutes apart.
Yeah, I was pretty frustrated.
Yeah, and we were really, we were super excited, and we were just like ready to go. I think at that point, like especially for Derlin, I wasn't the one holding Jonah, but especially for Derlin, she was always like, I just want to have this baby. I think if you're out there and you're first time you're pregnant, I think just from observing Derlin, it definitely is like it is totally okay to just like want it over. Yeah. So as we were getting there, it was about 7 to 8 minutes apart, and we were kind of bummed out.
Yeah, I remember getting to the desk and being like, they were, and then they're not as much anymore. So they they took us into the triage room and they hooked me up anyways. And I remember I was like going through a contraction, and the doctor came in and was like, "Oh yeah, we're admitting you." I was like, "Oh okay."
Yeah,
great.
we were.
I like barely.
I
didn't react that way. I was like going through a contraction, so I was like, yeah.
We were super happy about that, and we can't tell you. We were so joyful, honestly, that we were like finally getting admitted. Yeah,
I was definitely relieved
that we were getting that we got admitted. So we got admitted, and the nurse led us to the triage room.
No,
I don't know.
the labor and delivery.
Labor and delivery room, and then we met our nurse there.
Her name was Jessie. She was awesome.
Jessie, if you're watching this video, you're amazing. We never wrote a review for you.
Yeah.
Jessie, and she did some exercises with Derlin.
So I went on there was like a ball shaped like a peanut. I don't know if I used that then, but I used the yoga ball at that point. And then I like got onto the ground. I was on my knees, and I was like doing like hip things. I remember, and they were like, "Okay, you need to be doing these exercises," because I told them that I was going to be getting my epidural. And so I needed to do them, I guess, before I got the epidural, I think. And then at that point, after I did the exercises, that was when, I think what happened was that I had the Pitocin, or they were like, okay, we're thinking about giving you Pitocin, and do you want an epidural? And then they said, like, once you get the Pitocin, the contractions are going to start to get more severe. And so you might, if you want to get the Pitocin, then you should probably have the epidural now. Or they had like offered that to me or something. Yeah, so Pitocin was it's like the not manufactured, I think it is like an artificial oxytocin. So oxytocin is the chemical that is like helps you to induce birth or something like that. It's like, yeah, I think it helps you to induce birth. And then they give you Pitocin as like a way to induce birth.
So it's like it kind of like speeds things on.
Yes.
Gets things going.
Yeah.
Gets a ball rolling.
Yeah. And so so I was like, okay, sure, like I'll have the epidural now, and then I don't know which one came first, the epidural or the Pitocin, but yeah, I had that, and then after they gave me I remember I kept on saying like the worst thing, like the hardest thing that happened to me that day was the IV, because I remember that being like the most painful thing. Even more painful than the epidural. That was rough. I don't really remember the pain now, but I just remember that day thinking that was really painful. The IV.
The IV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a husband, it was just a matter, like, all that time I'm not really doing much. At least, yeah, I'm not really doing much. Really, it's just
support.
Like, just support,
yeah.
like, just like being there, kind of like making sure, like that Derlin understood, like, look, I'm right there for you. I'm right there with you. I know I'm not the one getting the stuff. Thank God. But just letting her know that I was there.
Yeah.
It's probably about
I took
11,
an hour
12
nap.
o'clock, right?
Yeah.
11, around 11 and 12 o'clock. So I was getting hungry, and I remember, I forgot what moment, and I never knew this. I don't know if you knew this, Sterling, and I don't know if you out there know this, if you're pregnant. When you go into labor, you can't eat anything.
Oh, it's the epidural.
It's an epidural?
It's when you take when you have the epidural. Yeah. You can't eat anything.
So you can't eat anything. And we didn't know that, so...
Oh, no, I knew that.
Okay, well, if you didn't know that, there you go. You can't eat anything if you have the epidural, so...
That's why I ate before I left, because I was like, I'm not going to be eating anything until way later, so...
Yeah. So, but I was getting hungry.
Yeah.
And so, this is, like, one of the most memorable things for me. I mean, not, like, the best part, but it was a memorable moment, because, I was getting hungry, and we weren't, I guess, like, qualified to, or like, we couldn't order from the hospital. So I went out and I got Wingstop. So Wingstop, I want you to know, I left my wife, who was in the labor room, to get your food. So sponsor this. Yeah, and I remember going back in, and Gerald, I felt so bad. I mean, no, I didn't. I didn't feel bad, but I was eating. And
yeah. No, I told him, because you had asked me, like, do you want me to eat, like, downstairs, or do you want me to eat in here? I was like, oh no, I want to smell the food. Please eat it here. Yeah. And then by like the end of the meal, I was like, oh my gosh, you're the worst for eating this.
And
in here.
I hate to admit this, but at the time I got really full, and I like threw away like these fries, and Derlin.
I like their fries.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
So later on in the afternoon, of course, I started to push.
Well, before that.
Oh yeah, before that, I had my waters broken.
Yeah.
I don't remember what time that was.
Yeah. So after lunch around like 3 o'clock,
I think so.
They were checking Derlin's dilation, or seeing how dilated Derlin was, and her water actually hadn't broke yet. I guess for you out there, like, please use this as like a learning tool type thing, because in the movies, they always think that, it's like, oh my gosh, my water broke. And then you like rush to the hospital. But it's not always the case.
Yeah, I think actually it's like pretty rare for your water to break, for that to be like the first thing, be like, oh, I'm going to the hospital now. It's like more common that you're having contractions. Yeah.
And so around 3 o'clock, they had to go break Derlin's water, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Which
actually, honestly, I don't think I was there. No, I think it happened during lunch, because I wasn't there for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think
wasn't
you're right.
there.
I think you're right.
That definitely happened during lunch.
Which honestly wasn't that bad. I think it's because I had the epidural. I couldn't really feel it, honestly. Yeah.
And so after a really long time, it finally got time to push.
And I think that was around 4:30.
4:30ish.
Yeah. Something like that, because I think it was only like 45 minute labor.
Like I said, 0 to 100. I don't remember all the details, but the biggest thing I remember, two things. One I remember was that they brought out a mirror.
Oh yeah, Because I think I had said something like, gosh, that must be really cool, like that you're able to see that. And then our nurse was like, do you want to see? Like, I could bring out a mirror. And I was like, sure. Sounds gross and weird. Yeah. But it was actually really cool. Like, I could see, like, Jonah's head coming out.
And the second thing I remember was how to push. It was something along the lines of, like, you had to take a really deep breath. And then you were pushing for, like, 10 seconds.
Yeah, I had to hold my breath for 10 seconds.
Yeah, hold her breath and push for 10 seconds. And then she would do that twice.
Yes.
Yeah, take another deep breath and then push again. First of all, women, like, out there, you obviously are, like, super strong for being able to do that. But Derlin, I was so proud of her and about like what and like how she just like that she got through it. I really thrived in that situation. Not to talk about myself, but like I really
No, he
thrived.
did great. He did a great job. Seriously. Like I was super impressed
Yeah.
by you.
I had so at that time I was coaching girls basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt like a coach. And then eventually Jonah was born.
Mm-hmm.
Describing the first time seeing Jonah was, I don't know. I can't even describe it.
Yeah.
All I remember is seeing his hairy shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it was like really a surreal experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think like a part that adds to it is because I was so exhausted from it all. Exhausted from it all. I don't think it was like necessarily, I don't know, it was like a weird type of hard experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, I think it was just like a marathon.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. Just like it wasn't like one big
Mm-hmm.
like hard thing. It was just like hard consistently,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what was so tiring
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
After his birth, they told me that I had low blood pressure. I had a fever, so they were really worried about Jonah because they weren't sure if he had like an infection or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, because I was showing some type of like I don't know, they were worried about like I had an infection or something.
And this is again during COVID, like really like at the beginning of
right at the beginning.
Right
So
at the beginning
March
of
11th.
COVID. Yeah, March
So
11th,
right at the
which
beginning of everything.
we'll talk more about. But yeah,
Mhm.
it was right at the beginning, so maybe they were a little worried about that.
Yeah, and then so right after, or like shortly after, I went to the bathroom to change into a different gown. I guess they have like a different gown
Mhm.
from labor and delivery to maternity, and I actually fainted. So, or I didn't faint. I almost fainted. So that was strange. I wasn't really expecting that at all. But it's kind of funny that I like shortly after I completely forgot about it.
Yeah. So after Jonah was born, we got moved to the
Maternity ward.
To the maternity ward.
Mm-hmm.
First thing we did was like order food.
Yeah, no, we did that before. Before the
Oh,
maternity
yes,
ward,
yes.
because I
So-
ate that like in
yeah.
my
Oh yeah. So we ordered. So Jordan got some food
Mhm.
finally, and we kind of just got to
We
take.
just like settled down.
Yeah, we took like a couple of minutes to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
Things started to go a little bit less smooth, or like just things started to take a turn. I mean, like we were watching TV, we were watching the NBA, and we found out that like the NBA had canceled their season
Mhm.
because of COVID.
Yeah.
And the other thing too was like, and we didn't mention this before, but one of the things that the hospital had already been doing, having like special COVID.
Like limitations. Even like that day,
Mhm.
when I wanted my parents to come in, like
Mhm.
Nestor would have to leave because I could only have 2 guests at a time.
Mhm. And so I left. I remember I left. Her parents were with Derlin
Mhm.
for a little bit, and then finally we got back. I got back, and we were. Derlin must have been trying to feed him or something when when her and the other nurse at the time, they had heard a little like cracking in Jonah's kind of like shoulder area.
Mhm. They went
Kind
and gave him an X-ray.
Well, even before the X-ray, they were saying like, oh, it might be a broken clavicle,
Mhm.
which I was super worried about.
Yeah.
And this is like kind of why I think it's this type of video is important, because like at that moment I was extreme. I don't know if I ever told you, but I was really scared.
Mm-hmm.
And like with that, and Jonah had also been tested, and it seemed like he did have kind of like mild jaundice.
Yeah, or like he had like risk of jaundice. Like
and then
yeah.
like Derlin had her temperature high.
Mhm. Oh, they were also keeping us an extra day at the hospital
Mhm.
to keep an eye on my like if there was any infection or anything like that. And I was receiving antibiotics the whole time I was there.
And also Derlin was having kind of a hard time with breastfeeding, nursing. And so it was just like very, for me personally, as like the father figure of our family, I was just like really sad just for like my family, just because I had wanted everything to go smoothly, and this was not going perfectly. right? I would say it went smoothly, but it wasn't going perfectly.
And it was fine. Like, we weren't really, I mean, we were, like, worried, but we weren't, like, I wouldn't say we were, like, super stressed out.
I was.
Oh, okay.
I was super stressed.
I mean, we were worried, but...
I was super worried.
Okay. But I think, too, it's, like, I mean, things went... I don't know, this is just in hindsight, or, like, I thought this in the moment, but, like, things went, like, pretty good for, like, I know there are other cases where, like, things go, like, are, like, really, really scary, or, like scarier than what we experienced, too. And, like, considering that, like, things went really well for us, I would say. And again, I don't know if that's just hindsight.
This experience was, obviously, as a first-time parents, it was just I mean, this is kind of silly to say, but it was definitely life-changing. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it really went 0 to 100. Life-changing experience, and we hope that this kind of shows you all that, like, things don't have to go perfectly. And I mean, raising a child, you're not gonna be, especially your first one, you're not gonna be the perfect parents. But Jonah is grown.
He's great.
He's walking around amidst, like, the struggles that we went through on that day, and even after, like, that months
after that.
He is grown, happy, healthy, and that's what we hope to normalize and communicate and share with you all through this channel. And we hope to build a community with that things don't have to go perfectly, and you, like, parenting is hard and there's going to be struggles, but at the end of the day, like, everything's, like, great.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video. We'll have, like, a ton of more content. You can check out the video. We'll probably link it somewhere over here. What Derlin likes to, or what we feed Jonah. What Derlin feeds
now
Jonah.
10 months old.
10 months old.
Almost a month.
And we hope that all you out there, if you if you had a baby during this pandemic, like, tell us about it. Tell us down in the comments.
Please.
Let us know.
I would love to hear about it.
If you have any questions about maybe your first time parents, first time pregnant, like, ask us in the comments, and we'll make sure to comment back and communicate with you guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching.
Bye.
Bye. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Watch? I don't know.